Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the State of the Union address last night. So I'm not going to give it in all the broad political strokes, but to really zero in on what we are so much about on this podcast and channel, and the basically what it has to do with Trump and Trump's troubles, and the country and the country's troubles and prospects for escaping them by not waking up on November 6th to another Trump term. So, there's a tendency in journalism to be very myopic, very focused on what's just happened, but trying to take that out of the equation. Nevertheless, the speech, I think, is coming across as essentially miraculous. That it's the biggest moment of Biden's political life, with the most doubts to try to overcome. And a little bit like, The Natural and Roy Hobbs, touched by whatever forces, he came in and just hit it the hell out of the park in so many ways. And States of the Union addresses are not so easy to really dominate in that way. They often will get sort of boring in the middle and have laundry lists and kind of, really seem kind of pre-canned. This one was basically exciting, perhaps buoyed by the low expectations he came in with. 37% approval rating is, even for incumbent presidents coming into an election where they are historically low, this is sucking wind. And there was so much on his shoulders. And, he had lightness when needed, sobriety when needed, toughness when needed. The Republicans played into his hands. Marjorie Taylor Greene, God bless her, with a nasty quip that he just shot down. And then throughout the very thought through notion of contrasting himself with his predecessor. That was the what to call Trump, the president. And Hillary Clinton, remember, said Donald, my predecessor. So a little bit of dignity, but leaves a lot of room for a lot of pretty scathing critique. And man, did he deliver it. And he didn't stop at Trump. This was one of the most interesting aspects to me. He took Trump to task for a number of things, but the biggest one, and I think from what we know about the polling and the politics, what will be the main theme for the Democrats, that is the whole insurrection, the whole anti-MAGA sentiment, which remains the majority in this country. He chastised Trump, but he chastised the members of the Republican Party in the House as well. He basically said, you guys are also guilty of this, and he did it strongly. Just to talk a second about tone, and this would be he is not going to go down in history as a great orator, and yet this will go down in history as a great speech, and nothing matters as much as tone for speech. Sometimes he's been a little low key, and that aggravates the image of him as getting as lacking vitality. Sometimes he's been a little sort of angry and hoarse. Here he was basically, I would say, confident and strong. Now, State of the Union, you've got your own podium. You call the shots, but really compare it with past States of the Union, and you really, really have to give him high points. And now thinking about it with respect to the campaign, obviously, this doesn't completely put to rest all the problems he's having to deal with, including those of perception. I'm reminded, actually, some of my older listeners out there, as I'm an older host, when Reagan was dogged by similar questions about his age. he turned to Walter Mondale in debate and said, "I'm not going to exploit the youth and inexperience of my opponent." And that was it. He had, he just put a death rate to the issue and it went away. Will that be the case with Biden? Doubtful, especially because of the dirty pool of his predecessor and opponent. Trump, in fact, came out of the box and would have said it anyway, calling him that he looked like a reanimated corpse. But still, Democrats are jubilant, and the general sense of, should we consider a different candidate, really was buried with his stellar performance last night. Now, many other things to talk about, but we'll leave that mostly to the political pundits, the specific issues. What about immigration? Important moment when a Republican basically is caught on camera saying, "Yeah, that's true," about the immigration bipartisan proposal that the Republicans, get almost everything they want, but Trump, for rank political reasons, has ordered them, not to accept, so he can try to blame Biden in the general election for there continuing to be a problem. It's a long and detailed and very tortuous, twist and turny kind of campaign. But this is for sure the day one of it, and he came up to the plate and just totally clobbered it. So I say this not as a partisan. I am a Democrat, and even if I weren't, I would be a never Trumper and see this election as having huge stakes for the very reasons of all the menace that Trump presents, possibly existential for the Republic. And in those terms, a very, very good day. And in particular, as it seems increasingly likely that we will not have a ride to the rescue of the cavalry in the Mar-a-Lago case or the Fulton County case or the January 6th election interference case. So having to just do it in the open field and rely on Biden and the Democratic campaign apparatus and their record it's a very buoying moment. One thing to keep in mind, I've said this about the polls themselves and had a very good conversation with James Podhorzer about it, which you can check out. The election, no matter what, is going to come down to 6 states and pockets within them. So query whether this was the moment where people first started paying attention, including those all important pivotal votes, or was it a great moment that nevertheless they are not attending to yet? I think in any event, you just can't gainsay the impact of having this now sort of in the water, having so quieted all the criticism, having people down the line, if they're objective journalists, say something like, "He seems old," but then again, the State of the Union speech. I mean, it's a really important counter talking point that will just remain out there. And other than arguably, and only arguably, the nomination acceptance speech at the convention, this was really the biggest moment. The attention of America on him, and in tone, substance, delivery, basically couldn't have gone better. And I'm sure there are it's not even clear who they are, by the way. The Trump campaign seems in some disarray and cash strapped, but whoever is going to step up as their Karl Rove or Lee Atwater is probably, finding some points of vulnerability. But the Dems now come out of the box with not just Biden, but his surrogates, with about as much momentum as they could have hoped, and about as much quieting of all the consternation about Biden's age and vitality as could have been anticipated in, of all the days that it could have been, of the 100 different speeches and its impact, this is sort of day 100. Really, very strong day for Biden and the State of the Union. Talk to you later. Hi, everyone. Harry here with a really exciting announcement. Talking Feds is bringing our lively discussions with prominent national figures live to San Diego. Talking San Diego is a new series of conversations with some of the country's most interesting and bright minds from the worlds of politics, public policy, law, and more. Our first event is just around the corner. Join me for a conversation with Congressman Jamie Raskin on Monday, March 18th at 2 o'clock in downtown San Diego. You can click the description box below for more information on the event and the series and find out how to purchase tickets, which are going fast. I can't wait to have some of our most well-known friends of the podcast join me in person before a live audience. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.